This viewer says, my girlfriend believes self-help and relationship advice is necessary. What's your take?
Absolutely. What's so interesting is that very few people will study self-help unless they've got some kind of major problem. And the average person, whether they finish high school or college, it's like unless there's some kind of continuing ed required for their field, they don't read books. They don't really do anything to try to stimulate their mind or grow beyond where they are. And so reading any kind of self-help book or relationship book or books like mine or Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, studying philosophy, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, different people in history, we get paid based upon the value that we bring to the marketplace. And so if you're constantly taking in new ideas, because when you read a book like mine, like Mastering Yourself, I mean, you got decades of life experience, of trial and error, and tens of thousands of human interactions in business, in my personal life, just interacting with other human beings. And on top of that, all the people that I've studied and I've learned from, and the most important knowledge I've gained from other people. Because when you study other people that are more successful than you, that are older, that have that life experience, you're able to acquire all that wisdom and all that knowledge from them without having to reinvent the wheel or go through that yourself. And as you grow your reserve of knowledge and then you apply yourself, developing your gifts, your skills, your talents, you're raising your value proposition for your employers and your potential customers if you're an entrepreneur. So anything you can do to better yourself, to grow your reserve of knowledge, because the reality is most of the people that you're competing against are just not going to do those kinds of things. Just like most people aren't going to work out, they're not going to exercise, they're not going to take care of themselves, they won't juice, they won't go and get network chiropractic work done, they won't take the time to make smoothies. If they hate their jobs, they won't do anything about it until they get fired because they hated their job so much they were doing they stopped doing just enough to not get fired, and then they get fired. And so if you are in control of your own destiny and you're always trying to improve yourself, because that's one of our 6 human needs is growth. We want to grow as human beings, and if you're not growing, if you're not reading books, if you're not learning from other people that are more knowledgeable and more successful than you, you're kind of stuck with where the rest of the herd of society is at. And if you want to set yourself apart and get the best opportunities, you've got to become better than anybody else. And if you just discipline yourself to, 1 or 2 new books a month read, like my first book, Master or 3% Man, it's about a 7 hour, 7.5 hour audiobook. If you listen to the book at 2 speed and you follow along in a paperback or digital copy, just move your finger along as you go over the words while they're being said with the audiobook, you can get through this book in 3.5 hours. And so if you get the audiobook and a paperback or a digital copy for any kind of subject that you want to learn about and put it on 2 speed, you can get through it in half the time that you normally would. So just things like that will help grow your reserve of knowledge. It'll stimulate you. It'll give you other ideas. And then when people talk to you, they're like, wow, you're so wise. How'd you learn so much? Well, you study. Everybody starts out as a novice. Very few people will actually apply themselves, and that's why the book is 3% Man, not 97% Man, because basically 3% of the world's men and women are dating the best looking people, have the best houses, drive the nicest cars, have the coolest careers, typically are the happiest, that are living the lives that most of people in society can only imagine or dream about.
It's also important to go inward and understand why you are the way you are so that you become a better partner to whoever your significant other is, better relationships.
Yeah, the most important relationship is the relationship that you have with yourself. It's getting to a happy place where you love your time alone. If you can have a blast by yourself with nobody around, laugh, have joy, listen to music, read a book, watch a television program, take yourself to a movie. If you feel like going out to a bar and having a meal and having a few beers by yourself, taking yourself out on a date with yourself, in essence, and having fun by yourself and having a blast, then you're good company for other people. Because if you're miserable by yourself, eventually, once the honeymoon period wears off, you'll come face to face with the fact that you're not happy in your life. And then once you recognize that your significant other is not the source of what you thought was your happiness, then you'll start neglecting that relationship because you recognize your happiness is not coming from them because you're just unhappy. And that's why it's so important to, it's like one of my favorite Jim Rohn quotes. He says, I'll take care of me for you and you take care of you for me.